Hello YouTube, Drake Clawfang here. I got a lot of comments on my vids asking how do I use these mods in Dissidia Duodecim. I want to play as Axel, Roxas, or whatever. How do I use their models in the game? Well, I'm going to show you right here, complete video tutorial, step by step. You and me, we're going to do this together. So you don't need to ask anymore, it's all right here for you. Now a couple things to answer before we start. Turn on the annotations first. It has a complete transcript of everything I'm saying. If you want text step-by-step instructions, if you just want a visual aid, you have it. The second thing to say is that in the vid summary there will be a bunch of download links, including these here, these readme files, and that's just a list of character IDs, etc., so that when you're editing here, you have them at your fingertips. And that's going to be in the download link, in the summary for download again, along with some other files I'll explain as we go along. The third thing I have to tell you is that this model is for reassigning existing DLC. There is a hasher from the Dissidia forums that creates new DLC in a sense, but it's a more complicated method than this, and I actually haven't gotten it to work. I'm not as well versed with these as you may think. I've only gotten this good because I've done it a lot. The hasher I don't know how to use, so I'm not going to try and instruct you when I'm not sure myself. First, a universal question I get is, do I need custom firmware to use these mods? Yes, you do. Without custom firmware, strictly speaking, you can still create new DLC outfits, but like say you do a Thor model swap for Cloud's DLC 2, and you don't have custom firmware, I've actually tried it myself. If I recall correctly, I could select DLC 2 for Cloud in-game, but it showed up as normal Cloud, not as Thor. I don't know if texture edits work, but model swaps definitely. And second, no, you don't need the Dissidia modding suite for this. That's just for texture edits. Model swaps, you don't need anything. All you need is a hex editor program. I use H&D here. It's very simple to use. You don't have to sign up for anything. It's free to download, and a download link for that is in the video summary. So that's what you can use if you don't have a hex editor. If you do have one, great, but this is just what I use and what you can use if you need one. Okay, so let's get this started. What you need first is an existing DLC file, of course. Ultima SBO of the Dissidia forums, he made a bunch of new DLC for assorted characters. Like he made DLC 2, 3, 4, 5 for Cloud, Sephiroth, I think Squall, Lightning, Vaughn, Zidane, and I'm gonna link his files in the summary. You can use them. I do most of my mods from his. You know, you just pick someone you don't use, like Vaughn. You know, I don't use Vaughn, so I make my mods off of him. But you can do whoever you want. And in essence, that is what we do. We take existing DLC for someone else, and we tinker with the file program so someone else has DLC now. Now, if you're just doing a model swap on a character that's the same one getting the swap, like if you want Thor over Cloud, the process is much simpler. Every DLC you download will have 5 files in it, .edat files in it. And I'll show you these here. We go to Cloud, DLC 2, you see 5 .edat files right there. Now, 3 of them that you hear, you can see 3 here are 1 KB in size. One is probably about 15 to 2000 KB, and the other will be 17, 18 KB. The 18 KB one is the portrait. The several thousand KB one is the model itself, and these are sound, controller, and other data. The only one we want with these, one of the 1 KB files, is the controller file. And there's a list in the readme files that lists all the file identities in Ultima SBO's DLC. I'll show you here. Where's that? Pardon. It's the image here, my mistake. And you can see here he has everything labeled there so you can find what you need. So, with that said now, let's go ahead and use the hex editor here and open up Cloud DLC 2, his controller file. Now what we're looking at here is, this is, in layman's terms, how the game knows how to use the DLC file, who it's for, and all that. What the first thing we're going to do is go up here. This says bytes per row, and we're going to change that to 18. This is for me personally because a lot of the screenshots you see on the Dissidia forum showing you how to use the hex editors use a hex editor that has 18 rows per byte. So I changed mine to 18 just so I know what to do. If you don't need to do that and you can follow along with me without needing to change it, that's fine, but this is just for convenience on my part. Now, one of the things I'm going to show you here is these four things here. This is where the game handles DLC attachments. Things like Cloud's cape and wing, Sephiroth's coat, the Emperor's wings, and part of his robes. They are actually not part of the DLC models. They are separate files that the game attaches and loads alongside the model. So these here, because this is Cloud's DLC, what these bits here tell the game is, whenever you load whatever model, attach the wing and cape to it too. If you ever seen my vid where Sora enters battle and he has Cloud's wing and cape, that's because I did not change these. What you want to do is, if you're editing someone like Sephiroth or Cloud that has attachments, you just highlight these and hit FF, and there you go, you just replace them. That tells the game there are no attachments to this character. But, maybe you like Sora and you want to give him the Emperor's wings, because that'd be badass. Well, what we have here is an attachment ID list, and you can see here there's Cloud's wing and cape, Sephiroth's coat, Zidon's cape, Yuna's skirt, and that's there. And if I typed in now CEO2, I'll just show you here. And if I did that now and loaded it up, Sora would be wearing Zidon's cape. If I did F202, he'd have Yuna's skirt, which is like the sash thing on her side, and I believe her hair was part of it. So that's something you can do. Like my Kane, Daraj 8's his Angemon uses the wings from the Emperor, so Kane's controller file here has the attachment ID for the Emperor's wings. So that's how we do that. But for Sora, of course, you probably don't want any attachments, so you just replace all those with FFs. Now, because we're replacing Cloud's current DLC with another Cloud model, that's all we need to do here. So we're going to go File, Save, and now what that will do is, in the file itself, it will create .edat.back, which is the original unedited file. This is the edited file here. This is a backup. Hang on to this just in case you screw something up. Now once we've done that, all we need to do is replace the model and portrait with Sora's. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here and we're going to rename this file, and we're going to change the .edat extension on the model here to GMO, and yes, you want to change it. Now if you don't see the .edat there, what you do is you go to folder, I'm sorry here, I'm trying to find this, folder and search options, there we go, view, and where was that, hide extensions for known file types. So that's what, if that is checked, you won't see the .gmo.edat. Uncheck that, and that will allow you to show these up so you can rename them and change the file format. So what we're gonna do here is I have no SS, you don't need no SS, but I would highly recommend it, just a model viewer. We're gonna open this up here. Just taking a moment to load from no SS, it's a bit slow on startup. And we can see there's Cloud in his Kingdom Hearts outfit. And as you can see, as I said, his wing and cape are attachments. The model itself does not have them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to replace Cloud with Sora. And now what's very important during all of this, when you rename any of these files, any files at all, only change the extension. Do not change the file name itself or it will not work. So what we're going to do to replace Cloud's DLC 2 with Sora is we're going to take this GMO and we're just going to copy this, and we're going to go over, we're going to go up to, here's Sora in his Kingdom Hearts 1 outfit. You can see him, there he is, and we're going to take him and we just rename the GMO, Control V, there's the name of Cloud's DLC 2, .edat, and there you are. And we're going to do the same with the portrait. Rename. I'll just do it here. The portrait extensions are GIM, but they'll open under SS2. So I'm just going to show you here to show that that's Cloud's portrait, his Kingdom Hearts portrait. And now I don't have the portrait here, but what you do is you just take the portrait and you rename it, name it the same as you did with the model. Just rename the portrait file for Sora to the name for Cloud's portrait .edat, and that's all there is to it really. Now you take these 1 KB files here, don't take the .edat.back because that's just a backup. You copy them into your PSP folder with the other DLC, and then you copy over the renamed Sora files that are now edat now. And if you don't know where to copy them, on most of them, for me it's on PSP game ULUS 10566. That's where mine are located. It might be different for yours, I'm not completely sure how it works, but that's where mine are. You copy these DLC files into that folder, and now Sora will be usable in-game as Cloud DLC 2. You just change to the costume, you know, like you would any other outfit, and once the battle starts, there he is, there's Sora. Now, that's all fine and good for reassigning Cloud's model to Sora to get Sora in, but I mentioned before reassigning someone else's DLC to Cloud. Now, it's a bit more work and a bit more complicated, but what I'm going to do for the purposes of this tutorial is show you how to turn Vaughn's DLC 5 into Cloud's DLC 3 as Sora. Now, to reassign it, we need to change two things here, so I'm just going to go Open, and I'm going to go to the README here so I can see what Vaughn's, see there, Vaughn 5, controller file, 0BAC, blah blah blah. And there it is here. Screw you, Windows, I'm sorry. And here's Vaughn's controller file. And we're going to change that to 18 so it displays right. And now what we're going to do here is there's a couple things we have to do because this is, as I said, more complicated. Now for this section here, every character has a particular code that part of it tells the game who it is for. And under the README here, we have a list of these here. You can see those here. I'm just gonna change just these here. So you can see now this is Vaughn PGST 120, and we see over here Vaughn PGST 120, and if you notice on Clouds he was PSEV 100, and the _8 is just determines, I believe, the costume number it is. The game actually includes the default costumes when counting here. So this is Vaughn's DLC 5, but there's also his base outfit and his two alts. So this is actually treated as Vaughn's 8th costume by the game. So that's just a little thing to remember. So what we change here to reassign the DLC from Vaughn to Cloud is these four characters right here. These 2 bytes tell the game which character it's for, and these tell them which costume. So we're going to take Vaughn DLC 5 and reassign it to Cloud's DLC 1. You can see under the attachment ID here, there's the 7-digit thing, and then there's also a 2-digit one. Vaughn is 1E, as we can see there. Cloud is 0D, so we're going to change this 1E to 0D here. And 08 is just which costume it is, so if I did this now, it would just be Cloud DLC 5. I'm just going to change this to 05. Again, the base 3 costumes count, so DLC 1 is actually 04. 4 DLC 2 is 05. I'm sorry, I can't count today apparently. And OD is DLC 3 is 06. And here we're going to change these 6 digits to Cloud as well, from Vaughn's here GST 120 to Cloud's SEV 100, and we do that to both. Don't worry about the rest changing themselves automatically, just we need to worry about these. So, and now if we wanted to go up, now of course you're thinking now, well, if this is DLC 3 for Cloud, that's 06, and I go up to 09, that would be DLC 6. What about higher than that? Well, beyond that, as you probably can see here, this uses hexadecimal coding. So instead of going 9, 10, 11, 12, it goes 9, A, B, C. So if you wanted to assign this to DLC 7, you would go 0A here. If you wanted to see DLC 8, B, and if DLC 9 would be 0C. The highest I've ever seen anyone on Dissidia forums goes is DLC 9, and I think that's about as high as you go. I don't know if you can do more than that, like 010 DLC would work as, if you'd put OD, if it would work as DLC 10, I don't know. But I just think, like, you know, you figure you've got 6 or 7 extra DLCs there, how many do you need for one character? You know, you can work with this. Now, the last thing we have to handle is weapon meshes. And an easy way to think of weapon meshes with models is to think like image layers. You know, GIMP, if you have a GIMP file with multiple layers, you can click the eye to make that image visible or not. Well, the game sort of does something like that. When cloud or squall or lightning enter their EX modes, they don't actually change model, the game changes the meshes. Like turns off the mesh for the Buster Sword and turns on the one for the Ultima weapon. And I'll give you an example here. I'm sorry, there we go. Actually, we'll use here Sora's Kingdom Hearts 2. And you can see here, no assist does not apply the model viewers, so that's why he's holding the Keyblade and both Keyblades, the Kingdom Key and the Ultima weapon at once, because no assist doesn't display weapon meshes. And Cloud, if we loaded him up, he'd be the same way, he'd be holding the Buster Sword and the Ultima weapon at once. So we need to tell the game how to switch between meshes properly. If we just did it now, the model would load properly, but it would look like Sora is holding both his weapons all the time. So what we're going to do here is this gets a little more complex. We need to go into hexadecimal stuff here. With any model, you go Data Viewer, Extend Model, Bones, and now we want to look for the bone that is the weapon bones, which are here, 51 and 52. And you want to memorize which bone that second one is. We call up the calculator, you go to View, Programmer. Mostly it will be standard, this is probably what you're used to. You go here, change it to Programmer, make sure you got decimal selected here, input 52, and then click over to hex, and it will change the value to represent 52 in hexadecimal. You take that number, and you reassign it here. Now the thing is with Vaughn is, just like the thing with Vaughn is he switches between his weapons normally. So that's why, if you remember Cloud, these were all FFs. For Vaughn's, they have data, because that's how Vaughn switches between all his different weapons in battle. So we're just going to go change all these to FFs. I didn't do this before, and I think this will work fine anyway, because, Cloud doesn't wield 8 weapons like Vaughn does. But just in case. Now, I may be mistaken here, I confess. It might be weapon 0 you use, in which case, you would go back here, because you can see weapon 0 is 51, and you convert that to hex, and that's 33. So if I've strayed you wrong, you can, most of the time, because no one really does bots or Vaughn or any with the multiple weapons, just scroll down the bone and just look for the bones named weapons, and just convert these numbers into decimal, and like there's only going to be 2 or 3. Just try them until you get the display working right. I'm sorry, I haven't done this much myself, but you can troubleshoot. It's not that complicated, as you can see. So once we're done that, we can close that now. And now this is looking a lot more familiar for Clouds for some of you. We've got SEV 100 there, 0D, that's for Cloud, 09, the mesh there. All that we do now is we save this as before. And we go to Cloud's DLC 5, Vaughn's DLC 5, and again, there's the backup file here as .edat.back, and we copy the name here, and we're gonna rename Vaughn's Sora's Kingdom Hearts 2 GMO just like we did before, and we rename his portrait the same way, and that's all there is. You just copy the files from Vaughn's DLC 5 into the folder along with the renamed Sora files, and there you are. Vaughn's DLC 5 is now Cloud's DLC 3, except that we've replaced the model with Sora here. So there you have it. If you follow these steps exactly, it should work. I may have made a few errors. I don't believe so. If I have you offer my you have my apologies. If you do have any flaws, though, I would encourage you to go to the Dissidia forums and ask there. It's no cost to sign up, and the guys are mostly friendly. They can help you out more than me, because as I said, I've only gotten good at these because I've done it so many times. Now, a couple things to go over, just some general advice. You can't do assists with this method. You actually need an entirely different model to do assists, and not many people make assist models anyway. I'm not going to cover how to convert assists because I'm not sure how. I tried it once and I failed miserably, and there aren't many out there, so it's not a big deal. Most people that put out assist models already convert them for you anyway. Dissidia Forums has tutorials though, and that really again is my biggest piece of advice. If something isn't going wrong, you have an error, don't ask me, I'm not the expert. At one point I actually had to delete all my DLC because I corrupted my something I downloaded the game did not like, and the ISO would crash whenever it tried to load a fight. And for several months I got to the point where Sky Fortress Bahamut, the arena, crashed whenever I tried it. I don't know why, I don't know what DLC file I could have downloaded that would cause the ISO to have problems, but it can happen. So that's just the general advice. Back up everything, keep track of what mods you download and when. You can set a folder option in the DLC folder on your PSP, so when your computer shows you the order where you put them in the folder, and that can help you determine if there's a problem, determine which DLC files might be causing it, and get rid of them. And things will screw up. It's just gonna happen, through no fault of your own. Maybe you missed a step, maybe you tried to assign two different DLCs to the same DLC file. Like if you tried to assign Cloud 2 DLC 3s, you're gonna have problems there. So just, double check everything, troubleshoot. I've given you everything you need. This is all my knowledge. Watch this vid, do it carefully, step by step, and you should be fine. A reminder again, the video summary has a link to download the README files for all the stuff I've talked about in this vid, along with links to Ultima Espio's new DLCs for characters, and a download link for the H&D hex editor. I'm also going to include a downlink for Noesis if you don't have a model viewer. It's free to download, and it's pretty handy. It's what I use. It's what a lot of guys on the Dissidia forums use. And that's really all there is to say. Thanks for watching, YouTube. This is Drake Clothing, signing off.